We continue now at the top of Daf Memches Amud Aleph and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 48a. On the previous summit, the Gemara brought the statement of Rav Huna that Taliyuhu v'zavin zvine. If they coerce a person, literally Taliyu means they suspend the person, meaning they hang him from something. They use some kind of physical coercion to force a sale, so then that's still considered to be a good sale. And the Gemara is looking for the source of this idea, and the Gemara now brings the Brisa. The Brisa says Yakriv Oso. The pasuk says he has to bring it. It's referring to a carbon. Melamed Shekofan Oso. That teaches that we can even force him to bring the carbon. Yachol Bal Karcha. Now I might think it could be against his will. Talmud Lamer Lirtzono, but it also says in the pasuk Lirtzono, it has to be by his will. It has to be willingly. Haketzad, how so? How do we force a person if it has to be willingly? The answer is Kofan Oso Achiyoma Rotzani. We force him until he says I'm willing, and that's considered to be that he is willing, and so therefore you see that by karbanos, forcing is going to be a good carbon. So too when it comes to a sale, the same idea. But the Gemara says v'dil mashani hasam, but maybe it's different over there. To have a kapara, it's something anyway that's good for him because he wants to have a kapara. He wants to have an atonement by bringing the carbon, and so therefore you can't really bring a proof from carbon. And so the Gemara says v'ela misefer, rather we'll bring it from the end. At the end of that brayse it says v'cheinata omer begitei nashim, that the same is true when it comes to a divorce document. Kofan osoat sheyomer rotzani, we force him until he says I am willing. Same basic idea, just like you can force by the get, you can force over here as well by the sale. But the Gemara still says v'dil mashani hasa, maybe it's different over there. The mitzvah l'shmoa divrei chachamim, it's a mitzvah to listen to the words of the chachamim. The chachamim are saying that you should go ahead with this get, divorce. Maybe that has nothing to do with the case of a sale. And so instead, finally, the Gemara says ella rather svarhu. It's just logical to say that a forced sale is considered to be a good sale. The reason is agav onse, because he's being forced. Gamar umakna, he fully gives it over. He fully gives over whatever it is that he is selling, and therefore it's considered to be a good kinyan. And the Rashbam explains Yakriv also. Again, this is the pasuk bringing the carbon. Kro Yisera. This is an extra pasuk, meaning to say extra words in the pasuk. Dachsiv le'el zachar tamim yakrivenu. It already says that you're going to bring a zachar tamim, a male that's unblemished. So why does it have to say Yakriv also? Umatzi lemichtav yakrivenu al pesach ol moed lirtzono lifnei Hashem. It could say you bring it to the pesach ol moed. So again, you have these extra words in the pasuk of Yakriv also. Melamed shekofan also lahakriv mashanora, that teaches us that we force him to bring, let's say he made a neder, he made a promise to bring a particular carbon, we can force him to fulfill that neder until he says I'm willing. We see you see in general when we force a person to do something, and let's say it's some kind of physical coercion, we're forcing him through yisurin, through afflictions, and because of those yisurin, he says rotzani, he says I'm willing, karina beiler etzono, that's called willingly. To gamar belibo lahakriv, that he's essentially determining in his heart that he's going to bring it. The same would be true by a sale. If he says I want to, that's a sale. The gomer belibo lahaknos, we say that he is determined at this point in time to go through with it. The dehavale kaparas, then we say maybe it's different by karbonas because he wants to have the atonement. When he says rotza ani by a carbon, certainly he really means it. Who says that we can say that by a sale? The Gemara then brought a proof from Gitei Nashim. The same is true when it comes to Gitei Nashim. It's talking over there what it says in the Mishnah in Ksubas that we force certain people to divorce. Mukashchin, ubal polifos, to kofin, these various cases where we force it. We hit him until we strike him until he says he's willing. Because again it says he's got to give it. He has to give the get midaito. He has to do it willingly, so we can force him until he says I am willing. So maybe that's the source. But the Gemara still says Dil Mahasam Nami. Maybe over there also Chiyama Rotza Ani Gomer Belibo Lagarsha the mitzvah Ka'avid. There he's doing a mitzvah. That's why he's willing. Because the Chacham are the ones saying that he has to divorce. And finally, the Gemara said, "Ela Rav Huna misvara didei ka'amar." Rather, Rav Huna, it was from logic that he said that. The mitoch yisurim, because of the afflictions, gomer belibo makni. So he determines in his heart to be makna. Hoel v'ikatarti, because you have two things already. Yisurim, they're the afflictions. Umatan mos, plus he's getting money. This is a sale. To lo mafsid midi, he's not losing anything. That's why it's considered to be a good sale. And the Gemara continues, Mosiv Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda asks a question from the following Mishnah in Meseches Gittin. Get ha-ma'usa b'Yisrael kosher, if you have a get, which the husband is compelled to give the get by the Jewish court, that's kosher. Uva'akum pasal, if he's compelled by the non-Jewish court, that's pasal, it's disqualified. Uva'akum chovdin oso va'omrin lo, asay mashi Yisrael, omer loch. And the non-Jews, they can beat him, and they can say to him, do what the Jewish court is telling you to do. That would be okay. And the Gemara asks, v'amai, now why is it the case that in a situation of being compelled by the non-Jewish court, why do we say that that's not a good get? Hasam nami, there also we should say, Nema we should say, Agav onse gamaro megarish, since he's being forced, so he really does have full intention to divorce, and it should be considered to be a good divorce, just like we're saying by the sale. And the Gemara says to that, itmar Allah, but it was stated on that, meaning with regards to that halach in the Mishnah, it says, Amar of Misharshir, that Rav Misharshir said, Devar Torah, that really in a doraisa level, afilu ba'akum kosher, even from the non-Jewish court, if he's compelled, it's kosher. Umatam amru ba'akum pasal, why did they say that if he's compelled by the non-Jewish court, it's pasal, it's disqualified, kedei shalote kol achas v'achas holeches, so that every single wife shouldn't just go ahead, v'tola atzma bi'arakum, and then she'll be able to get the non-Jews to coerce her husband, to compel her husband, umafkas atzma bi'ad balan, be able to release herself from her husband. We don't want that to happen, and that's why the Rabbanan said that it's not a good get, but really it actually would be a good get, because again, just like we say, Tal Yu v'zavin, zvine zvine, just like we say that a forced sale is considered to be a good sale. And the Gemara continues, Mosiv Rav Hamnuna. Rav Hamnuna asks a question also from a Mishnah Meseches Gittin, Lokach mi Sikrikon v'chazer v'lokach mi Balabais. He buys it again from these gazlonim, these non-Jewish thieves, and so we say again that they essentially coerced, that Sikrikon essentially coerced the original owner to sell it to him, and then he even goes ahead and buys it from that prior owner, Mikcho Batal, but we say that purchase is not going to be a good purchase. But the Gemara says again, V'amai, why is that true? Hasam nami, there also, Nema agav onse gamro makni. So he was forced by the non-Jewish thieves, but he was still forced, and a forced sale should be a good sale. We should say that because he was forced, that's considered to be a full kinyan. And the Gemara says to that, itmar Allah, but it was stated with regards to the halach in that Mishnah, Amar Rav, that Rav said, Lo shanu ela damar lech chazeku kani. That's only true if all he said to him was, go ahead and make a chazak and bikona. If that's all the prior owner said, so then we say it's not good. Aval b'shtar, but if he writes it up in a document, konda, that is considered to be a good kinyan. And so on the contrary, we see it is a good kinyan. It's not really going to be a question on Rav Huna. But the Gemara continues, V'la Shmuel, but what are you going to say according to Shmuel? Diamar af b'shtar nami lo kana. He says even if it's written up in a document, it's not a good kinyan. Again, why is that not a good kinyan? Michael Amemra, what are we going to say? And the Gemara says, Moda Shmuel, no, Shmuel would admit, Heichad di Yohav Zuzi, in a case where money was given, meaning if it was a sale where he actually received money, even Shmuel would admit that it's a good sale, so that's consistent with Rav Huna. And the Gemara continues, now according to Rebbe, he concludes this halach in the name of Rav Nachman as follows, talking about, again, when you have this compelled sale by the non-Jew, that karka einlo, that he's not entitled to the land, it's not really considered to be his land, but mos yeshlo, but he can get his money back, he can be reimbursed from the money he gave. Now, according to Rebbe, it would come out that there is money being given, and still it's not a good sale. So, Michael Amemar, what are you going to say according to Rebbe? And the Gemara says, Rebbe is just a statement of an Amora. That's just his own opinion. Rav Huna doesn't agree with that statement. Rav Huna is allowed to argue with a statement from the Amoraim. And the Gemara continues on, my Rava says, Hilchas of the halach is, Tal Yu v'zavin zvine zvine, that a forced sale is considered to be a good sale. V'lo amron elen, we only say this only in the following situation, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Memches Amud Beis.